Roger Goodell meeting with reporters yesterday after the conclusion of the December quarterly ownership meeting was asked about the latest report from the Washington Post that Daniel Snyder allegedly, reportedly, may have interfered with the efforts of lawyer Beth Wilkinson to investigate the claims of misconduct at the Washington football team. Goodell said, I haven't read the story, but, we went through a very lengthy period of investigation and discussions. The one thing I can say with 100% assurance is that it didn't interfere with the work that our investigator did. We were able to access all the people that she wanted to access, have multiple conversations with those people. There's always a little bit of tug and a pull with particularly lawyers and law firms. That's something I think we were able to overcome and make sure that we came to the right conclusion. That last part bothered me because who's the tug and pull with? There should be no tug and pull with Daniel Snyder's lawyers. If he's cooperating with this investigation, cooperation means you stand back and you say, whatever you need, Beth Wilkinson, whatever you want, whoever you want to talk to, I got nothing to hide. And even if there's concern that, there's some sort of punishment coming, I thought Daniel Snyder had his epiphany, his moment where he understood, I need to fix these things. Let's find out. You take your car into the shop. You don't tell the mechanic, "Oh, don't put the hood up too far. Don't look under that hose." I mean, come on. You either want to fix the situation or you don't. That's what's astounding to me, that there was a legal team that was protecting Mr. Snyder and that there was apparently some sort of an effort to try to chill this, but it didn't affect us. Well, so what if it didn't affect it? The fact that there was even an effort is problematic, Chris.
That's I think the bottom line. I think that's where the statement jumps out to me is just right there. The fact that hey, it didn't affect you, or anything that way, but it doesn't mean he didn't try to interfere and try to stop certain people from talking in this situation and try to have silence here about certain things that went on with the organization. I still think that is still a bad look for Daniel Snyder and the Washington football team and the NFL in general. And again, didn't read the story. I'm sure he's very aware of this story, very aware, and I doubt that he didn't read it. I would think, again, how would he have not read it? I mean, that had to be one of the main conversations that Roger Goodell had with a small circle of owners as far as how to handle this. You can diffuse it and say, I haven't read it, sure. But I don't buy that. He's aware of all the circumstances around this situation. This is big. It's big for the league. But I think the thing that you talked about is probably the thing that jumps out to me too. 100% assurance that it didn't interfere with the work. All right. I mean, maybe. That's hard to get to 100%. Either way, there was an effort to interfere, and I think that's what we're talking about. That part's still troubling when, like you said, you're trying to get things right, not trying to, swipe a few things under the rug once again.
The saying is the cover-up is worse than the crime, not the cover-up is worse than the crime unless the attempted cover-up didn't work. I mean, an attempted cover-up is just as bad as a cover-up. An attempted crime is a crime. And that's what was so astounding about this. Well, it didn't affect the investigation. So what? It shouldn't have happened. And this is another reason why they didn't generate a report. As we said yesterday, there would have been a segment in the report where Beth Wilkinson addressed the difficulties she had in getting to the truth, the obstacles that were attempted to be put in her place by Daniel Snyder's people, allegedly, reportedly, actually, or otherwise, and they didn't want that in there. And I still firmly believe that they are hiding something massive and that they don't want the question. The more I think about this, Chris, I keep coming back to this point. It's not about protecting Daniel Snyder. It never was. And it is to a certain extent about protecting the other owners from being in a similar jackpot in the future. But I think at some level, it's about protecting the NFL from another Ray Rice type of a situation where tough questions are asked about what you knew, when you knew it, what misconduct was reported directly to you coming from the Washington football team that you didn't investigate. What should you have known about this pervasive attitude and atmosphere? Why didn't you step in before you did? Those are all questions that I think the NFL doesn't want to answer because I don't think they lead anywhere good for the NFL if people start asking, why didn't the league stop this mistreatment of employees at Washington sooner than it did?
It certainly seems like that, Mike. I mean, I'm with you. It does seem like there's something, bigger, bigger scheme, bigger thing going on that we're not aware of. It does seem that way. I mean, it does. And, again, even with hey, all the access that she wanted, she got the access. We were able to access all the people that she wanted to have access to. Okay, but what does that mean too? What does access mean? That means nothing. Okay, yeah, you talk to me, but if someone paid me off and told me not to say certain things, you had access to me, but I'm not going to tell you because I already had access to another guy in his checkbook, so I'm not going to say anything. I mean, again, these I think are a lot of hollow words right there is what I would say about, the statement yesterday.
When you have a serious situation like that is being investigated by an outside party, it's critical that everyone cooperate. It's critical that everyone be truthful. It's critical that no one do anything to impede the process. And even if the process is not successfully impeded, and leave it to Dan Snyder to screw up a cover-up. I mean, that's ultimately what happened. He tried and failed to cover up whatever it was that had happened. But the effort to do that is as bad as if you're successful. You shouldn't have that attitude. You shouldn't tolerate that type of behavior. And it just makes all of this more suspicious, and it makes me more convinced that Congress isn't going to fold its tents and go away on this. These developments will only make Congress more emboldened. We saw it yesterday in the statement that was issued by the House Committee on Oversight and Reform. They're not going to back down. Yeah. I think they have the same spider sense that I have.
I'm sure.
That there's something lurking underneath the ground. And they got the shovel and they got the pickaxe, and they're going to find it. And the harder the NFL tries to hide it, the more natural curiosity we all have as to what it is. How big is this thing?
Yeah.
That they're working so hard, that they're putting the $65 million per year pincushion up there with more implausible statements. It was implausible statements in October. Well, we can't release these details because the employees asked us to protect their identity. Well, but that has nothing to do with the details. Yeah, but he'll say it with a straight face. It's part of what he's paid for. And yesterday, earned another paycheck, standing up there and saying something implausible just to get through the moment. Keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and hope it all goes away. Hey, folks, we got more bright, shiny objects coming. We got a game tonight. We got 2 games Saturday. We got a bunch of games Sunday. Come on, step right up. We got bright, shiny objects. Forget about all this other stuff. Pay attention to our bright, shiny objects.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, they got that, and I'll be paying attention to the bright, shiny objects, and I don't need to pay attention to this anymore because I think, a little bit off of what you said, Congress has got it now. I do. I think they're enough, on this to where it's not going to go away. And at some point, they're going to grill the NFL and Daniel Snyder and other people involved in the Washington Football Organization about this stuff. And, they can put all the shiny objects they want there now. It got to a point where now it's in the hands of the government to a degree, and I don't think it's going to go away. We might have some spots where it's a dead period. We don't hear anything about it, but I think it's here to stay now. It's gotten to that point.
Well, we'll cover it when there are developments. I mean, people will email me and ask me questions. Why haven't we heard anything? Why aren't you talking about it? Well, there's nothing to say. I mean, that's the thing. Without fuel, without oxygen, this fire dissipates, but it's not going to go out, and I don't think Congress is going to let this go, and they shouldn't, because I think they get it. They understand. There's something there that merits full and complete investigation. And, the same games, although not exactly the same, but similar to the games that were being played by Snyder and his lawyers to limit access.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL is doing now with its lawyers and its lobbyists and its people working Congress. They're trying to invoke certain privileges that may or may not be actual privileges to limit the information. We want to hide the thing, whatever that thing is.
Right.
We want to hide it, and they're going to keep trying to hide it, and hopefully Congress won't let them.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.